Hello, this is Roman Buha, and in this video I'm going to show you how to model a parametric canopy using PARAM-O for ArchiCAD. This is that canopy that I am going to be showing you, and it is fully parametric. It can be adjusted in size, like for instance you can set up the depth of that canopy, you can change the length of it, you can go to the parameters and adjust the number of supports, you can change surface to look something different, as well as fascia and other supports that you can find in this object. So for instance, yeah, you can see it will look differently. You can even change the shape of this backing plate. So for instance, I have a circle as a default option. You can change it to square and it will be updated accordingly. And of course, it's gonna look good in both elevations and sections. I think I have it right here, yeah. So I have a bunch of references here on the left that I've downloaded from this manufacturer, Mapes Structural Canopies. And there are some shop drawings here, some sections and plans that was very helpful in modeling this object. So let's go to plan and open this object in PARAM-O just to show you quickly how the script looks. So I need to select this object, go to File, Libraries and Objects, and then open selected PARAM-O object. It may take a little, because the script is relatively heavy. It has many nodes, so you will see in a minute. So here it is. So that's the object on the right side and the entire script. If I zoom out, you can see this is how it looks like. A lot of this spaghettis and nodes grouped together into multiple steps. So all of these steps, I see I have step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on. I think I have a total of 10 of them. All of them correspond to a particular element. For instance, this first group, step 1, metal deck profile, that just corresponds to this metal decking. And if I would take some of these parameters and try to maybe rotate it, you will see what I'm doing. It's changing its angle. So that's the metal deck profile. Then I will do the step 2, and we will model a fascia corner support angle. I have separate group for the right fascia, which is, if I will again start to maybe rotating it, you will see where it is. So it's that element there. Then this is the left fascia side, and it's right there. Then I have step 4 as a fascia corner support angle front. Let me rotate that element. Yes, it's that one at the front. And step 5, section support angle. I think I rotate it, yeah, so this is that steel support. We have multiple number of them. If I change it back to 90, we'll go back. And of course I have this node, for instance, it has a count, so that's how we can change the number of them in here. We will look at that a little later. Step 7, it's called front clip angle, is this object here. So again, I can rotate it a little bit just to show you where it is. You can see it's rotating. Step 7 called rear clip angle. So that is actually, I think it's these objects there. And again, let me rotate a little bit. Yes, you see they're rotating all together. Step 8, steel backing plate. Let me increase this a little bit. We don't need the script to be full window for now. So step 8, steel backing plate. It's that plate that you see at the top here. If I would, let's see here. Yeah, too many nodes here. So I have combination. All right. So move. Yeah, I think it's this. Right. I even highlighted this backing plate height. So if I move it up, you see it's set to be at 2.3. I can move it up or down, and it's gonna change the height, not only for these plates, but also for the hanger rods. So then that's what the step 9 is, threaded adjustment rod. I took these names from these shop drawings, by the way. So that's step 9. If I would rotate it, let's see, maybe here, yeah, rotation Z. Yes, you can see I'm rotating it, rotating its copy right now. So that's that. And then finally we have step 10, hanger pipe assembly. That is like this thicker pipe that is, if I zoom in here, it's this pipe assembly, 1 inch, that is in the middle of that rod. So again, I can, you see I can move it up and down just to show you that this group belongs to that element. Now, so let's confirm this. We didn't do any changes, so that's fine. Where do we even start when modeling such an object? We have to go to File, Libraries and Objects, and click New PARAM-O object. Now it will open that same PARAM-O for us, which will be clean, and the canvas will be empty, and we will start bringing these nodes from the left side here, from that menu to the right to that canvas, and we will see then on the right side of our screen how the geometry is changing. So for instance, if I drag, we have this group called shapes. So if I drag this block, the simplest node on a canvas, you'll see immediately the new object, this cube, will appear here. So I can zoom in this node here and just see what are the inputs. And as you can see at the bottom here, we have size X, size Y, and size Z. That's where we can start inputting this, plugging new parameters and change the dimension of this cube. So at the very top here, I have parameters, and I have dimension 1, dimension 2, and height. These will, and let me just drag them. So I have dimension 1, dimension 2, and height. So these three are actually corresponding to the bottom left corner here. You can see I have 3 rows here. So this one is dimension 1, this one is dimension 2, and this one is height. Now, if I would plug in all of these into here, as you can see, I can take this, and you kind of go from the left to the right. So nothing will really change with this cube, because the default settings of this block, and I can double click on it and see the node settings. The default settings are exactly the same as those settings here. So now, since we plugged those in, I can control them from here. So I can click plus, and again plus, and you see it's just changing its dimension 1, and then I can do the same in here, and I can do the same for the height. right? So if I would not have those, and you see I just unplugged that, it will go back to the original default settings. These numbers or values are set to be 1 for each of these sizes. So I can change it here. I can say 5 for X, right? It will change that. But as soon as I would override it with this dimension 1 node, now it changes to what it is here, 2.5. So that's just a very quick introduction to how this concept works. So you may have multiple shapes. You have block, you have cylinder, you have different shapes here that you can again modify by inputting different data parameters. Now with our object, the canopy, right, which looks like this, we need to start with something. And my step 1 was that I wanted to bring this steel decking, or I think it's actually aluminum, yeah, aluminum decking. So how do we do that? Well, there is an option to not only create a primitives like box or cylinder or whatever, or a sphere, but instead I can just drag this, I think it's at the somewhere at the bottom. So there is profile, but there's no, it's actually at the top. Yeah, it's called profile extrude. So what that will do, you see, as soon as I brought this to my canvas, I now see the profile. Actually looks a little strange with this triangle here, but anyway, this is a profile that was just set by default. If I double click on it, I can go ahead and see, select a different profile. So if you're familiar with profiles in ArchiCAD, you should know what that is, right? So I can click here and I already have my folder canopy, which I have created before, and these are different profiles that I have created. So at first I did this canopy decking profile, and let me just select that first. So I selected that profile and say OK, and as soon as I did this, you see that now instead of simple primitive object like block, I actually have the profile that I've modeled. And if I want to maybe change the, I would need to change the rotation of this, right? So and that's the next step, probably, to kind of gradually move into this. So there is this input called transformation, and it's exactly what we need. So we need to plug in some node that will explain the program what to do with this object, how to transform it, in other words, or to move it, or maybe to scale it, or to change its dimensions, wherever. So we would have to rotate it, and if I would scroll down a little bit, you see all of these different nodes are grouped into separate folders. So there's this folder called transformations, and there is rotation X. I will try that one for now. And what it needs an angle. And I can double click on it and insert this angle in here, or I can take a number from here and plug that number in, and then maybe change it gradually. I will be able to change it gradually here and see how this will change. So look, if I would connect this rotation X to transformation, see, it starts to transform, or in other words, to rotate, in this case, my profile. And it is rotating it slowly, because if I double click and go into the settings of this number node, I have the value and I have the step. So I may change the step to be 5 and say OK. And now if I will click, it will rotate faster, because the step is set to be 5, right? So So you need to rotate it. Well, obviously I need to rotate it to 90 degrees. I can just double click on it again, just set this to 90. And as soon as I do that, this is what happened, right? I just moved that down, and that's exactly what I wanted it to be. Now, because I originally went through all of the settings, and I had to actually change this profile to decking version 2. And the difference of that is the size. So this particular, let me check this particular profile. If I double click here, so it's set to be 1 in height here. But I had problems with that because it was longer. So this distance was longer than, so this is all, first of all, this is all in metric system, right? So 1 foot is 1 meter is about like 3 something feet. So because I'm modeling in I need this in imperial system, I always need to think about how to convert these numbers. So it can be a little tricky sometimes, but let me change this still to this version 2 for now, so because I know that this was the correct one. Yeah, and you see what I did is that I made it shorter, so it fits exactly into this kind of square, which is 1 by 1 meter. And that way later when I'll change my settings, I will have good numbers, and that's why I will not have any issues with this geometry later. So let's just do that. So I move that by 90 degrees. So this is my aluminum decking over there. Now we also need to set dimensions for this, right? So to begin with, we probably had to first drag this dimension 1, dimension 2, and the height. And this will represent the global dimensions for the boundary of that canopy. And now I need to be able to plug in these dimensions. But because this is the profile extrude node, I don't have, like, normally if I would have a block, I would have all of these sizes X, Y, Z that I can modify. But because this is a profile extrude, it already has its size. And so, but what I can do is still to change it. There's just only one parameter here for height. And I could create a number. And by the way, you don't have to drag this always from the left to the right. You can just, it's much easier as you get used to this. You just double click on it and just type number. And now you have this number that you can plug in to your height, and you can change the value like that. But not only I want to change the value in this direction, I also want to somehow to change the depth of this aluminum decking. But I only have this one input, right? I only have the height. So how do I do that? Well, I need to use what's called scale. Don't remember where that is in here. I think, yeah, it's under here. It's under transformations. So this scale here is what will help me to change the settings of, change the size of this decking. But as you can see, I only have one input for transformation, right? And we already used that input. We just rotated it by 90 degrees. So, well, how do I do that? Well, that's actually simple. We need to bring this node called combination, which will allow you to have multiple transformations. So not only you can rotate it, but you can also plug in some more information. Let me just move this up a little bit. So what I will do You see, we have 4 transformations versus 1. I will take this rotation and plug into this first input, and then I will use this scale to plug into the second input. And now this combined data I will take and plug in all together into this transformation. And this is already plugged in, but as soon as I will plug the other variable, it will override it. So it will disconnect that, it will connect the other one. Now, we just successfully connected the combination node, but we still need to set up this scale correctly. So how do we do that? Well, we need to take dimension, which will be responsible for the depth of that canopy, and it's not going to be height. I think it's going to be this dimension too. Let's connect it to X and just see yes. So as you can see, as soon as I did connect this dimension to, let me see now, this won't work, but the other one will work. So it actually doesn't matter which exact dimension you would plug in, really. Yeah, I think originally I did the dimension 1 as the depth. So let me just rename this since we already established that. So I will say that this parameter is going to be overall. Actually I would say canopy overall depth. And this dimension 2 will be canopy overall width. Sorry, I should probably say length. Yeah, it will be better. Now we don't actually want to use height because the height is 8 inches for this particular profile of the fascia. So I will remove this one from there. Now, since we just connected this dimension and to this X scale, and then finally to the transformation and to the profile extrude node, we now can, as you can see, change the size of our depth of this decking, which is great. So it's just stretching as much as we want. And so that's good. So we can determine that. Now let's see what else we can do in here. We have scale. We also need to be able to control the length of it, right? So that for that I need to connect this length to my height instead, right? And I prefer to keep this like global parameters on the side. So so instead of having this manual number, we will connect this global node. I say global because that will then later override the other settings of that canopy. So I'm connecting it to height. And now, well, this one I can just eliminate. And now if I change this setting here, right, it's gonna change its length. All right, so this is already good parametric decking object. Let's just save this for right now and just name it maybe canopy tutorial. Say OK. And as soon as we do that, it will save this into the embedded library in ArchiCAD. So it says your object are already in the embedded library. say OK, and I can now click to this object tool, and it saved that into this folder PARAM-O. This was my original canopy, and this is canopy tutorial object. And we already see preview here, and these settings were converted from metric, so I can change these dimensions, right? I can do this 6, I can do this 10, wherever, and it will work. So I can place it here, maybe rotate it. Let's look at this. All right, good start. We just got this decking that has, we cannot change the height, it has the options that we can just modify the depths, and we can modify the length of it. Now we need to continue building more elements, and let's just do a little break and continue in the next video. Thank you.